Welcome back to the Ball Does Lie podcast. I'm your host, Amir Motameni. I'm here with Brendan, my co-host. So for today's episode, Brendan, I want to talk about the Timberwolves. They're 19 and 10, fifth in the West, actually now. They're flying a little under the radar. And the West, I'm not going to say is open because the Thunder are still looking like the team to beat, but it looks a little more open than we thought. 2 weeks ago when we were talking, doing podcast, it felt like the Thunder were never going to lose. And the Wolves seem like they could be a legitimate dark horse contender.
Yeah, just beat the Thunder as well.
They just beat the Thunder. Do you think they're an actual contender in the playoffs or just a good regular season team?
No, they're absolutely a contender in the playoffs. This team has gone to the conference finals in back-to-back seasons. I think they continually have these stretches in the regular season where you just kind of forget about them. As weird as that is to say for a team that's been to back-to-back conference finals. But they're a team, I think, that plays to the level of their competition, which is why I think a lot of people will just kind of have them in the back of their mind and not so much at the forefront. Because if they're, they'll lose a game to, pick your bad team. They'll lose to the Memphis Grizzlies. And then the next game, they beat the Thunder. So they're definitely a team that will play up or down to whoever they're playing. And I think one thing they need to really improve is their end of game stretches. They're a team that will just blow a lot of games that they should absolutely win. But they're a proven winner in the playoffs, and Anthony Edwards is a proven superstar who can carry a team. And over their last 10 games, they're 8-2, top 10 in both defensive and offensive rating. And Ant is playing like the superstar we kind of expect him to play like. I think the thing that continues to shock me about Ant's game is his three-point shooting. Like, he's shooting 44% in this 10-game stretch from three on 8 attempts a game. So pretty high volume, hitting a lot of them, averaging 30 a game on very efficient shooting, and handling a lot of the point guard responsibilities, because that's, I think, the one area this team kind of lacks in ball handling, and he's taken over a lot of that. So I think they're a legitimate contender. I think you kind of have to say that given their playoff success. But to throw it back at you, do you see them, contending with the likes of OKC, Denver, San Antonio, and those teams? No.
No. No. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, playoffs are different, I guess. Maybe not in the regular season. To your point, they have gone to back-to-back Western Conference finals, but do you trust their late offense against elite teams? You said they've blown leads, but they do, to your point, also play up to the level of their competition, and that's definitely frustrating with certain teams, and the true contenders and championship teams don't do that because they take the regular season serious. But it's tough to say. Their defense is great. You have Rudy Gobert. He's a system. He's a defensive system. You're going to be a top defensive unit with him no matter what. So that's the thing. They have the offense. They have the defense. They have the star. But do they have the ball handling? Do they have the bench to compete with the Thunder, which is a complete team? Do they have the size maybe to compete with the Rockets? Who's going to stop Joker on their end? Because as good as Rudy Gobert is, like, he gets cooked at times by superstars, and he's a good defender in general, but no one's guarding Joker. He can't guard Luka. We know Luka always cooks Gobert, it seems like. So I just don't think they're good enough to compete with mostly the Denvers, mostly the Thunders. Like, the Rockets still have to prove that they're a top echelon team, especially when it comes to the playoffs. I just don't think Gobert and Randle are good enough front court mates for Anthony Edwards. I don't think they have the depth, in my opinion, to actually contend. Can it compete? Yes. I don't think they can actually contend to actually win the West.
Yeah, I think a lot of their success also seems to now kind of ride on Bones Highland, who's been playing great in the last, 5-6 games, getting a lot more tick as well, averaging around 20, 25 minutes. Yeah, former Clipper. Clippers could use him for sure. But that's a lot to ask of Bones. But it is interesting to see him really, I think, pick his game up. And then, Rob Dillingham, we'll see what happens there. That it's tough watching Rob because it feels like he's playing with one eye kind of on the bench, and if he makes any mistake or turnover, it seems like he's just looking at the bench waiting to get pulled, and that's a really tough place to be as a player. But I think he gives them a little bit more of a variable ball handling. So yeah, a lot of it riding on Anthony Edwards. I mean, that continues to be kind of the issue with the Timberwolves is there's too much on his plate. But we'll see. We'll see if guys like Bones can continue playing well. We'll see if Rob Dillingham could pick his game up, and then DiVincenzo, I think, is another guy on the perimeter that at least is someone that will play winning basketball and give you really solid playoff minutes. But I think they can contend, just to take the other side of this argument. I think they could. And they match up well with the Nuggets, and they just showed they could beat the Thunder. So I think having a guy like Ant it raises your ceiling and kind of it propels you into that, I think, contender category.
So who has to be the guy for them in a tight playoff series outside of Ant and outside of maybe, let's say, Randall? Outside of those two, who's the guy, like, not a guy who could just win you a game and swing momentum, but like a guy who could do that for multiple games in a series? Who's that third option?
Yeah, I think it's going to have to be Dante DiVincenzo. I think initially to start the year, I might have said Naz Reid, but I think Dante is going to be that guy. He's shooting the ball really well. He makes winning plays up and down the floor. So I'm going to go with Dante.
Okay, makes sense. So yeah, Brendan thinks they are a team that can compete in the West. I don't think they can this season, perhaps, but I could be totally wrong. You never know what happens in the playoffs. Anything can happen. Playoffs tell, so we'll see. But anyway, thanks for hopping on, Brendan. Appreciate the time. And if you guys do enjoy the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.